Hey, how you doing there? Welcome back to the channel, Veracity Trigger. I'm going to be dragging you through the dungeons of 21 to 30 solo Dark Knight. Yes, we are going to do this. This is difficult. This is very, very difficult. This is almost so difficult that it's almost totally pointless to even try this. But you can watch my grief, my suffering, and hopefully we can get through the rest of this. As far as what I did here, I had to go back, try to level up a lot higher, to be a little bit higher in order to fight this boss, because I just wasn't high enough level-wise. And because your level, depends upon some skills you get, and also your hit point pool, which also affects your defense, and magical defense, and offense, and this and that. So I had to go back, restart it, come back in here, save as many items as possible for this particular part of the floor. This was super, super difficult to do, and you'll get to go through this with me and watch my suffering. So you'll get to see all the things that I have had to deal with this, and how difficult this has been. And also want to say that when I'm going through this, I probably should be using Dark Arts with Soul Eater a lot more. In regular fights, but there's so many times in regular fights I do that too much. I just don't want to lose the aggro of whatever I'm fighting. So most of the time I'm using my Power Slash, I'm using my Delirium combo. I don't really use the Soul Eater combo too much, because I'd rather put an Intelligence down or put Enmity on the enemy, and usually I use the Soul Eater combo mostly with my Bloodbath. Whenever I have Bloodbath running, I will use Soul Eater as much as possible. But going in here solo, it's almost like a totally different thing. Like here, Provoke is not even needed. Bloodbath, or not Bloodbath, what am I saying? Mercy Stroke, like you saw up there on my left cross out bar, that is way more needed. That is more needed. And, I was trying this for a while. I was trying to like go back and forth between strength and steel, and have at least one of those running, but I was like, you know what, screw it, just forget it. I'm just gonna pop both strength and steel and level up as high as possible and just do as much damage as fast as possible. And I realized when you're playing this dungeon, that is absolutely the best way to go. Don't waste any time trying to save anything. I think maybe from the floors 21 to 30, if you want to save items, or from the first floor, you could possibly save a lot of items, because the first floor 1 through 10, most of the stuff there isn't that hard, and most of the stuff isn't really a lure trap. It could be like a pacification or an enervation trap, or whatever the word is. It's really not a serious thing. So the 1 through 10, you could save almost all those items, to use for later dungeons. Like this particular part, the middle part of the dungeon, this is probably one of the hardest parts to do. I'm thinking maybe the next one's going to be probably a little bit harder, but the fact that I'm a Dark Knight, and Dark Knights are really about anti-magic more so than they're about anti-physical defense, because reprisal only comes up on a parry. It's not like with the Paladins, where you could just put their attack down, their strength down anytime you want to. It's not like that. With Dark Knights, if once I do get Delirium, even without Delirium, I do have Dark Mind later on too, that works. But Delirium will put their intelligence down, which means that all their basic attacks are bad. They aren't good anymore. And plus, going in solo here, I don't really have to worry about doing any enmity generating anymore. Nothing. There's no more of that. And usually I'm just fighting one enemy at a time, so I can Dark Arts my Soul Eater every single time now. And what I've realized is, when you come into here, let's I'm going into like all kinds of theory and how you should be playing and stuff, but let's go into this from the start, okay? This was pretty difficult, and I think this was extremely difficult in the sense that you're coming into here, and these middle levels, as far as a Dark Knight is concerned, are crap. They're just absolute crap. They're garbage levels. There's nothing good to be had by this. I mean, there's no really good abilities that you can have at this point. You already have Power Slash, which is good, but you don't have anything. I mean, you've got Blood Weapon with a Dark Passenger later on, but until you get Dark Arts, the Dark Passenger doesn't do that much damage. And Soul Eater, can't utilize Dark Arts until Dark Arts is available. So you get Soul Eater before you get Dark Arts, and Soul Eater is pretty much completely pathetic by itself in comparison to Power Slash, because Soul Eater is 240, Power Slash is 300, so that's 60 more potency with Power Slash, and you don't heal up off that. And the point of being a Dark Knight is to self-heal or do damage to the point that you lose hit points and you do more damage. Something to that degree, but because they made it a tank, they couldn't let you lose hit points. Obviously, that would be stupid, So when you're in this middle level area, you don't have a lot of skills that are really useful. Like, once I start leveling up, once I get Delirium, once I get Salted Earth and possibly Soul Survivor, then I'll be able to take on some more monsters and things will start to go my way a little bit better. The whole point is I want to get up to the level where I'm higher leveled than the enemy is, and once I'm higher leveled or even leveled with the enemy, no matter what, solo I'll probably be able to do very, very well. But in this middle part here, this is kind of like the limbo stage for Dark Knights, because when they designed it, they didn't really... They honestly, I don't think they necessarily designed Dark Knights to go solo all the way up to level 60 or whatever, what have you. I really don't think they designed it for that. So in these middle ground tiers where you're just under 50, you don't really get anything good. And most of the stuff that you get later on is group stuff. It's group attacks. I mean, there's really nothing you can get that... Carven Spit comes at level 60. Like, that would be amazing to get, but that still is only like a 60-second timer to get that. So that's still a little bit stronger than Soul Eater, which is amazingly good, But, I gotta wait till the very end of the game to get that. Soul Survivor could definitely help me out. I could definitely say Soul Survivor could help me out in these dungeons, because some of these monsters, they might randomly attack me or whatever. Do Soul Survivor on something, kill it quick. I heal up through their death, magic points and hit points. That's really good. But the fact that once I get Delirium, I can put their intelligence down. I could put, Soul Eater on with Dark Arts. But that's the thing here. Like, I don't have Dark Arts yet. The way they designed this, they should have had Dark Arts before all the other things, because it makes Dark Passenger trivial, it makes Soul Eater trivial, because there's no point in doing Soul Eater unless, you have a healer that's focusing on healing someone else up, and you're the off tank, and you just want to heal yourself up without Dark Arts. But why would you do that? What? I mean, unless you don't really have much else to work with. You don't have enough magic points to work with, but it's still kind of stupid, because it'll heal you up a tiny little bit, but it's still a 240 potency versus a Power Slash, which is 300. And going through the Delirium combo, the Delirium is 280. So the Delirium is still not as powerful as the Power Slash. But it does put an anti-intelligence on the enemies in case you're doing magic points. Which in case in here, all the enemies in here, if not besides the Spriggans, do physical attacks on you. I mean, I guess some do, some will do some magic attacks. I think the big blocks, they might do some magic, attacks sometimes. But almost everything in here is physical attack from this level 21 to 30. As soon as you get into the next tier, there are some strong physical attacks, and then there's floating around magical ghosts and whatever, and they do magic attacks. So at that point with Delirium, that could really work out. But even then, it's still not as strong as Soul Eater with Dark Arts. But so it's kind of like you have to use your Power Slash until you have Soul Eater with Dark Arts. Unless you're fighting, let's say you're fighting something that has some strong magical properties, maybe like a succubus in the later floors, or something like a troubadour. I don't know what they are, but they look like ghosts. There's the buoyant ones too. A lot of the ghosts will do magic stuff on you. But you could start off with, putting their intelligence down. You don't have to worry about the reprisal, because that's the thing. With this one, you only get reprisal off the parry. So I think it might still go based upon your character, how you leveled up with parry or whatever. And I think the way that Square Enix wanted you to do this was to focus on parry. But then the way everybody suggested you build your character was with crit and no parry. So coming into here, not having a good parry ratio means you're not going to reprisal that much. Means that you can't put their attack down so much. So they're going to hit you like, a truck half the time. Most of the stuff's going to hit you like a truck. And then you have to have good RNG too. So this middle area is mostly like really physically strong attacking monsters. And you can't reprisal that much. You don't have anything that's super strong against it besides, your power slash combo. And you really can't heal up. Being a Dark Knight, a part of the point of being the Dark Knight is to heal up. All the healing stuff is later on. It's later on. What was it, like level 47 or 46 for Dark Arts? Or I think it's 40, or no, maybe it's 44. But it's later on. Like these middle levels here, they're so hard to do. So incredibly hard to do. And so when I came in here, I was thinking, you know what? I just have to pump as much damage into every enemy as possible. Hopefully they'll drop a chest. Hopefully they'll drop some fortune or whatever, and it'll work out for me. So what I'm trying to do every single time is I'm just putting on blood weapon every single time. I'm just going to town on the enemies. I'm just destroying them as fast as possible, using up all the items I've saved up as far as like floors to go to, this and that. And I'm just trying to work it so that I'm putting as much damage in as fast as possible so I can kill off as many enemies as fast as possible so I can level up as fast as possible. And yes, that's a lot to say, but the thing is, like, you want to try to not skip levels here. Like here, I'm trying to figure out, like, should I attack everybody here? Like, I probably should. Just to fight, to level up, to keep my level high enough so I can keep going, because the thing is, when you start fighting something at your level, when you fight some of these monsters in here at your level, you're pretty good, you're pretty good to take them on. You can take them on without having a strength, buff or a defensive buff. You're pretty good at being able to keep all that. So once I get close enough to their levels, I won't really need the strength or the defense quite so much. I mean, it will still help me kill it so much faster if I could get those. But I won't quite need them so much. So these strength and defensives, as far as this tier goes, I think this is best to burn them as fast as possible and try to play it somewhat strategic. Like if you find something where you're maxed out on your steals, and you find a treasure chest that's going to give you another steal, and let's say you still have some more of the dungeon to go and you still have a steal running, basically just fight the rest of the dungeon and come back for it, once you've killed off most of the monsters in the dungeon. And then once you've killed off most of the monsters and you're ready to go, come back, pop that steal, and open up the chest to get another steal. So you've got three there. It does kill a little bit of time, but overall, the 7 minutes worth of defense is going to be really worth it. So also, as far as fighting these guys go, I think a really good thing to do is, start up with a Scourge and use your kick move on them right away. You can't stun it, but while you're waiting there, waiting to attack him again, you're not doing anything. I mean, you don't want to get hit by his AoE, because you can't stun it anyway, so you might as well just kick it right off the bat. Plus, coming in here too, like, I had to go through, I leveled up this party file that I had, because I was thinking maybe I need to, like, start over with that. Maybe I'll get some better RNG and get some better items or whatever. And I was like, I'm just going to try this one more time, because I've already tried it so many times, to try to go through this stage here. This particular dungeon I've done so many times, because it gets so frustrating trying to figure out, like, what the best way to do this, because not everybody can really help you understand what the best way to do these things are. you know, when to use your strength, when to use your defense. We can go through that and we can talk about that as far as party is concerned. But as far as solo, it's pretty much just like you just run and gun and you just hope and pray that everything works your way. But what I've realized now for this particular part, because Dark Knight is susceptible to a lot of things at this particular level, this is really the time where you don't have anything good or new to use against the enemy. You're under leveled as far as the enemy is concerned. You don't really have anything great to use to fight, to kill fast enough. Then you need to use your strength and defense. And as far as doing them, I would probably say use them at the same time, you know, unless you've got one of them that is at 3. If you have one of them that's at 3, and you just feel like using that right away, probably use the one with the most amount of things. So if it's a strength commander that's at 3 and you've got a steel that's at 2, use the strength first. And if it's vice versa, use the other one first. So it's like, okay, well, you know, I still have a lot more of the floor to go. Let's pop that. Let's do this. I think because of where I'm at, you know, I just want, you know, I just want to get another strength on me right away. Just it puts the timer up all the way, maxes it out. It's sort of optional. You know, it's a little tricky to try to figure out and try to understand exactly. Like if you're in the middle of a room, it's not the easiest thing. Just try to think about like what's the best thing to do. Like as far as fighting these guys go, these guys are good if you want to go blood weapon, or you want to put on defensive buff or whatever you want to do. These guys are good for that because they hit hard and you're going to have to heal yourself. You can heal yourself up while fighting these guys. These are probably the strongest monsters to fight right now. Those rhinoceros-like looking characters. The birds that chirp are pretty strong also, and you have to save a kick for them. You know, you kind of have to save a kick for that. But as far as these Pizzi guys or pedestal guys or whatever, you don't really have to kick that. You don't really have to kick most of these things. You can just dodge it. You can kick to stun it, to stop it. But really, when you're getting later on, you're going to be fighting things like minotaurs and these birds that do this chirp move on you. And what I want to also say is, the birds that do the chirp on you will not attack you if you stand still and don't move. You can be attacking something, but as long as you stand still and don't move, they'll walk right by you. They just won't notice it. I think if you do something like a dark passenger on them while they're walking by, then they might notice you. But pretty much for most of this stuff, like this is really when you want to try to kill as much as you can. And I think this was a really good idea, to use a strength and a defense and kill as many things as you can as fast as possible on the early floors before you get to the middle to later floors. So I think really when you're using the commanders of strength or defense, you want to use them on the earlier floors to kill as much as you can to get as high of level, because for playing a Dark Knight for this is almost crucial, because yeah, I've got Soul Eater, but it's not that powerful. I'm not going to kill the enemy that much faster versus a Power Slash, and I don't have Dark Arts for it yet. You know, you got to wait until you literally have Dark Arts. The cool thing is, though, is I can sprint to a lot of things because most of my openers to start are like Unmend. I don't need to do Unleash also, because although Unleash is like, you know, a free attack, it's 100, you know, potency points of damage, my combos are better, and I'm not doing multiple attacks. I'm just focusing on one thing. So as far as it's concerned, it's really not going to be good overall. What you always probably want to do, what I would really, really suggest is always try to Scourge first over anything. If you're going to try the solo, always Scourge first. Because Scourge is going to put a dot on them long enough that is going to drain their health down faster. Because you see, I didn't put a Scourge on him, he probably would have been dead like a couple seconds faster had I done that right away. Versus right now. But yeah, like... so that's kind of what I wanted to say. you know, you move on. This is so hard. This is so hard. I can't even remember how many times I've tried this now. This is very, very difficult. This is really the stage that will kill you off. I don't know, because like I used all my strength and all my defense to fight even the end boss. I don't know if I'm going to have what it takes to go beyond this level, because I don't really have anything. I don't have strength or defense for the next, you know, next set of floors. So if I'm able to do it, you know, I'm able to level up and get at least to, I don't know, 55, at least 55. That might be good. Then I might be set for the rest of the floors, because at that point I'll probably be able to fight whatever it is on the final tier easily enough, because I'll be able to fight alongside of it and level up, and you know, my level will be appropriate for fighting it, because I fought these things without the commanders and they just take a little bit longer. I can still survive with my blood weapon, but for the most part, like here, once you level out, you know, once you max out your Aether Pool arm, because I went through my full party thing, and I did the full party thing, and I was able to do it surprisingly today. I was able to do that today. I was able to beat this floor today. I guess certain days are kind of lucky. But as far as maxing out your Aether Pool, that might have helped me out. That might have helped me out a little bit. I'm not too totally sure, but I think that possibly did, because when I was fighting this boss the other time, when I was noticing it wasn't, you know, it wasn't maxed out, I noticed, I think it may have said it was unsynced. In one of the previous videos I said, you know, I wanted to be a stronger strength level, and I wasn't totally sure as far as how they're going to show the syncing of it, you know, the syncing of your weapon, the syncing of your gear, this and that. I'm not totally sure how the values of it all work. I can't honestly say. But I think if you're going to do this solo, you're going to probably have to start maxed out on your armor and your weapon. And when you just come into this thing, when you just come in here, make sure, absolutely make sure you eat a high quality item of vitality, with vitality and something else with it. Something that you may like or whatever. Make sure, because it gave me a good amount of hit point boost, and that hit point boost works with my defense. And I've noticed most of the times I'm really beating this, or getting close to beating this, I have a food item on me. You know, you might think, well, it's minuscule, but basically it's almost like a little mitigation. It's like a 10% mitigation, I think. 10 to 15 to 20 or something around that. But it's pretty good. So when I get to here, now I've got Dark Passenger. Now, when I have Dark Passenger, I'll put my skills in there. I'll always just throw a Dark Passenger in there. Like, I don't have Dark Arts yet. See, this is what does not make any sense. This doesn't make any sense. Why do I get these skills before I get Dark Arts? I should get Dark Arts first, so that then these other skills would be a little more potent, a little more useful. You know, you could say, well, I'm going to do it without, I'm going to do it with, you know, it depends on my MP pool. You know, that makes sense. The way that they did it here is kind of so ass backwards that doing this solo is so freaking hard. So hard. I think probably for the later boss fights I might have to start with grit, depending upon what I have. You know, kind of depends upon what I have. I mean, it depends upon, you know, if the boss is hitting me hard, what he's doing, this and that. This boss here is almost an absolute killer. I mean, you know, I was you know, I watch Mr. Happy's videos. He does a pretty good job, and he did it with Monk, and I think Monk gets some self-healing skills, which Dark Knight does too, but the Dark Knight doesn't get them until way later, where it's, you know, at the later point, then it really seems to work and, you know, have somewhat of a good value to it. So, I don't know. And plus with a Monk, like, I played Monk a little bit when I was playing Final Fantasy 11. I did level up Monk a little bit too, because I'm going to be working on my warrior too. I want to get all my tanks maxed out, so I can just switch to any of them in case I ever choose to. Typically I don't. Typically I just play Dark Knight, but You know, like I was leveling up the monk a little bit, or the pugilist actually, but the monk gets some pretty good self-healing skills. You know, you work through some of them, the self-healing skills alone are going to be pretty good. But Dark Knight, you think, oh, they got healing skills, they're going to be amazing. No. They don't really heal up too well until you get Dark Arts. You get some other stuff, like you get Abyssal Drain, but that's way later, and it only works on a group. You know, Dark Arts. You need Dark Arts with Soul Eater. You need Dark Arts with Soul Eater. Without it, it's pathetic. You're better off doing Power Slash, just because of the potency. The potency is really what makes and breaks everything as far as the Dark Knight goes. Now, you know, like if I'm in a dungeon where I'm with a lot of people, I'm used to using Power Slash a lot. I'm used to using a Delirium a lot. I'm not used to using Soul Eater too much, unless I'm in a solo fight, you know, where I already have enough aggression. You know, I already know I'm going to hold the boss for a bit. I know I want to heal up a little bit. I'll just Dark Arts my Soul Eater. I can heal up a bit. That works great. You know, but if we have like a monk on our team, then I don't have to do Delirium so much because they'll probably do their Dragon Kick, and then I don't have to worry about it, you know? But as far as playing solo, I rarely ever get the chance. I rarely ever get the chance to do it, you know? And see, the difference in here is what I'm trying to say is that when you go from Power Slash to a Dark Arts Soul Eater, you're going up a whole extra 100 potency, which is amazing. It's not just you're getting an extra level, you know, you're fighting through this, you're getting an extra level, you're getting a whole extra 100 potency for whatever level you're at. So if you're at the same level the enemy's at, and you get a whole extra potency attack, plus you heal yourself up, you could solo the rest of it with all that. So as soon as you get Soul Eater with Dark Arts, then you can start to do well by yourself without any extra equipment. That's where really, that's the kicker. That is absolutely the kicker. Overall, I mean, yeah, you got Dark Passenger, but without powering it up, I think it's like 150. You know, powering it up with Dark Arts, you get 250 and a blind. So, like, if you were able to fight two guys at a time, that would be good if they were both physical guys. But even if, you know, they weren't physical attackers, you're still doing a 250 potency attack on two enemies in here if you choose to do so. For the most part, I'd rather just power up my Soul Eater. And I'll use it if the enemy's low and I just want to heal up a little bit. But otherwise, it's only like 240. But if you power it up with Dark Arts, it's 400. So the difference between the potency, you know, you're going up and down, is a whole 100 points more as soon as you get Dark Arts. So it's so incredibly it's such a struggle to get to it. You know, that's the reason why when you're going through this, you really have to pray and hope for strength. Strength more than the steel, I would say. Strength more than steel. And, you know, you do need the steel probably on the bosses too. You can fight the boss if you have a good length of a steel. Like, let's say you're just about to fight the boss and you put a steel on, you got 7 minutes to fight the boss, and you know it's only going to take you like 3-4 minutes to fight the boss. You have enough time, you know, to run just blood weapon without grit to fight him. You know, and then you could just pop blood weapon, this and that. Should work out fine. But yeah, man, I've been preaching like crazy, and I just hope you realize how difficult this is until you get Dark Arts, because as far as it's concerned, you just need it. And I think Square messed up with that one, because you need that Dark Arts to go up in your potency, because as the other tanks level up, they don't need all these extra contraptions to get a stronger attack. I mean, they don't like, I don't think Paladin has anything else that's like, oh, you must use this skill, which uses another skill to be able to use another skill. It's chain skill. I don't see the Paladin using too many chain skills, besides the shield swipe, which is kind of like the same thing, you know, it procs with a block based off the parry, you know, but besides that, that's just a free attack that does a pacification, which half the time that pacification never even works. It doesn't even work half the time, you know? this is a good option here. Like, if he's going to do that, you got a Dark Passenger ready, you can just go stand in the right spot, do a Dark Passenger on him, still do some extra damage. You know, definitely bring Mercy Stroke in here and try to get that to work exactly on point. That'll help you out. But, like, just talking about Paladin versus this, like, I might even try coming in here with a Paladin doing it. I think I could probably do very well. You know, I might show you some of that. I don't know necessarily, but like as soon as you get Paladins to some of these higher levels, you get Clemency. You know, the one defensive buff that he gets that doesn't help would be the veil move. I don't think that one would help you too much, because I think it only works if somebody else heals you, not you healing yourself. But then again, I don't know. I don't know if they changed it right now to whatever. But in any case, you get Clemency. You can heal yourself up pretty good, which is the same thing as Soul Survivor, except for the fact that you can do it on command. You don't have to kill a guy to do it. So, like, even when I get Soul Survivor, it's still going to be tough, because I literally have to still kill that enemy and hope that... Because here's the thing, once I hit 50, Living Dead is not going to save me. It's not going to save me. Unless I'm just about to level up, and I just kill the enemy when I'm in Living Dead mode, and I just kill the enemy when I'm in Living Dead mode, and I level up at that point, that would heal me up all the way, and that might count for Living Dead as a full 100% heal. I'm not sure. I almost don't even want to try it, just to see that it works, because if it doesn't work, well, then I just kill myself off, you know? But, yeah, oh, man. So, I mean, you get other things with the Paladin. You can put their strength attack down immediately anytime you freaking want to. The Warrior eventually gets, like, an anti-slash thing that puts the enemy slashing down. With the other two tanks, you immediately get skills. Well, I mean, almost nearly immediately, but you get them to use them on command without using another chained skill to it. Dark Knight, you have chained skills. Dark Arts is like, okay, you gotta use Dark Arts to do this. You gotta use Dark Arts to do that. You gotta use Dark Arts for this. For everything. You know, it's like, it takes more skill, yes, but it's also slowing me down. It's literally slowing me down, so much so that it can be somewhat frustrating. And at this point in time, you know, I just don't have what it takes to do enough damage. Like, at certain points in time when you're leveling up the Dark Knight, there's certain levels that are just not good as a Dark Knight. And I've said this in some other videos too that I've done with some of my Dark Knight tanking. And I might go back and redo some of the old dungeons stuff and just kind of show you like what some of the mechanics are, but I can't really show you enough skills, because the older dungeons, it's really just, you know, do Unmend, do Unleash, you know, do your combos, do Unleash, move to the next. I mean, there's nothing interesting to show you. There's nothing that interesting to show you with that. It's basically like all the old dungeons. You know, you're just spamming flash, you're spamming overpower. You know, I can show you how to do those. I can go through them and show you, you know, and show you like a decent way to do them. But there's nothing super interesting as far as like what the new dungeons are and like certain ways to fight or whatever. Excuse me. So, yes, you know, and even with those old dungeons, with that, the game was designed initially so that you could fight at almost any of those levels and you'd be fine. But with those old levels, some of them, as far as Dark Knight is concerned, is that you have to avoid AoEs. You know, and sometimes you want to get hit by an AoE when you have Blood Price running, or you want to use Blood Weapon, you know, but you may have to avoid an AoE. So you need to be hitting things actively with Blood Weapon to get back your MP. You need to be hit with Blood Price to actively get back MP, to be able to do your aggro, you know, gaining skills like, you know, Unleash or Unmend. Almost everything is magically based for the Dark Knight. So the other earlier floors where they have you avoiding all these AoEs pretty much also have you avoid regaining your MP to do more aggro building stuff, which is a backwards concept. It's literally a backwards concept. It does not help you with that. So like some of the earlier dungeons don't, like there's one that's it's not the newer one, which is Psalm I think the newer one's Psalm, or maybe the old one's Psalm. One of them is Psalm something. I think they both have Psalm in their name. But the one where you fight Horace Belgar is the newer one. This older one where you're just sort of fighting other dragons and random vegetation or whatever, that one's really, really hard for Dark Knight. And it's kind of a newer one Dark Knights can do, but there's so many AoEs you have to avoid that you just, if you're going with a party that's pulling everything, it's going to be really difficult for you to maintain your MP pool, you know, in a fight like that. And so basically what I'm saying is that there's certain points of time for Dark Knight, as far as the level is concerned, where there's so much weaker in comparison to the other tanks. And this is pretty much one of the main points of it, because until I get the Dark Arts with the Soul Eater, I'm not going to be doing that much damage. And, you know, because I don't have that really good potency attack yet, and I can't really heal myself yet. I mean, yeah, I've got Blood Weapon, which does work on all the tanks. Blood Weapon works on all the tanks. Probably the Warrior is the best for Blood Weapon, because he has the longest time frame to run with it. If he's attacking multiple enemies, he can, like, use Berserk, you know, and just go overpower and use the one that gives you extra crit. Can't remember the name right now. Wish I could, but and just keep hitting. Like I've done this Fate, the attack on High Bridge, the attack on High Bridge when all the little mouse come after you. I can pretty much just go overpower everything and put Berserk on there and just keep overpowering everything, and I heal myself all the way within a couple seconds, just hitting everything. And I'm overpowering with, well, I use Bloodbath, that's how I do it. But I use that, and then later on when I'm halfway through the Bloodbath, then I'll hit the Berserk, and then I'll have like extra damage going into my Overpower, which does pretty good stuff. So, but yeah, guys, this is so hard. This is so hard. And you see how hard these birds can hit? You see how hard they actually do hit? They can hit pretty hard. So here's the thing, when you're fighting these guys, plus I also didn't have my defense, my damage, but when you're fighting these guys, if you stand in one place and don't move, and you don't want to fight anything else, you may end up having, like if you're fighting one of them, you see another one walking around, you may end up having to just stand there and not move. You know, if something else is going to do an AoE attack on you, just stand there, don't move, and just eat the AoE. That's really all I can kind of tell you. Some of these things literally don't attack you unless you move your feet, not move your weapons. So you could be fighting something already. Like, here's the thing. If I'm fighting one of those birds and another one's, you know, hopping by, if I just stick to physical attacks on a single target on just that bird, and I just focus on that, I don't even have to fight the other bird. The other bird will literally just bob around and just walk by me. And once he's past a certain distance by me, you know, he won't aggro me at all. So there are some monsters you probably want to fight here, some you want to kind of avoid. Ones that are really hard to break down and kill fast enough that you feel like it's going to be detrimental to you to try to, you know, kill them. Like there, I'm looking at those guys, I'm like, you know what, I got 20 minutes left, I'm on this floor, I kind of need to move on. Like I'd love to keep, you know, attacking them and push forward, but it's almost a time killer. You know, and if they already have so many birds moving around, that might not work for me. So yeah, this is, gosh, this is tough. This is tough. Like, and I'm trying to lower down the amount of monsters because there's so many floors here. I mean, there's literally so many floors. I think there's more floors in this middle section than there are in all the rest of the dungeons. I don't think there's as many floors. And, no, I mean not floors, but sections of rooms. Like you see how many rooms there are here? Sometimes there's just a huge, massive amount of rooms that I'm trying to fight, you know, to get through. You know, and I think the 21 to 30 has the most out of anything. See, this was probably not a good idea to just keep moving forward to him because a Spriggan could have attacked me right then and there. You know, then I've got someone just casting haste on himself and just throwing extra magic on him. That might have been a bad move. I probably should have just waited for them, you know, for this, what's the name of it? I just call it the bird. I just call it the bird. And there's another one right there, Palace Scalene? Scalite? I don't know, but try to stun that every single time. Yeah, he'll hit you and knock you out of it, but it's extra damage he's putting into you, you know. Another thing I've noticed too, like when you're fighting some of the bosses and whatever, you know, you don't want to be too low because you think you use a potion to heal yourself up all the way. You don't really heal yourself up all the way. You only heal up a portion of your hit points. So it's like damage mitigation all over again. You know, you just heal up just a small portion of it. So, see, the thing is, like, he'll just walk around you. You could just stand there. I could stand right in front of him, and he'll walk right by me. Although, I don't remember exactly if that's absolutely true. I think I can stand directly in front of the birds, not move my feet, and he'll just walk right by me. I think that's the case. If it's not the case, let me know. But I think that's the case. Some of them will. I think the Minotaurs might attack you if they're really close to you and they see you directly. But if you just stand on the outside in the hallway, you know, on the edge of the hallway, the birds will just walk by you. If you don't move. Like if that was your goal, not to fight them because your hit point's too low or whatever, they won't attack you unless you move your feet, because the birds just literally, I think, and it's weird because you think, you know, they're like owls, they should be able to see you. I think they're totally and completely blind. You know, where they only hear footsteps. They don't hear clashing of weapons, but they just hear footsteps. So yeah, here something like this. This guy hits kind of hard. He doesn't hit as hard as the rock structure, the rock monster. You know, the one with just, it's basically like a clay golem. It's just a gigantic rock structure. He does hit harder when he goes into berserk mode. So this one is basically more like a strength monster. The rock golem is kind of like a tank monster, but even with that, he still hits pretty hard. But you see the Soul Eater doesn't do much, you know. The reason I do that at the very end is because I might get back some hit points, but the Siphon Strike is stronger than my Spinning Slash, so if he's close to the end of his hit points, the Siphon Strike is going to do more damage, you know, and if he still has hit points left, then I can use the Soul Eater and get back some hit points. That's the reason why I do that at the very end. Otherwise, you know, doing it through the middle of it, because the potency difference with Soul Eater and Power Slash are very different. There's a 60-point value difference between them, and you want to have the one that has 60 points higher as far as the potency goes. So, like these guys, I don't really want to fight them. I think there will definitely be in the future like a lot of extra monsters I just don't want to fight, and they pretty much only see right in front of them. I was figuring I was going to fight this guy anyways, but I'm kind of prepared to fight him in case he chirps and this and that. So, as far as like doing this is concerned, this time round, I would say definitely use strengths, definitely use steals every moment you can. You know, try to hope for good RNG, because this really depends on RNG for this part, because Dark Knight just doesn't have everything it needs to work perfectly until you get Dark Arts. You know, it just doesn't have that. Yeah, I was wondering if I could buy him, but you just saw me with just the corner of his eye. And if you tank a lot, you'll understand when and where the enemies are going to actually start fighting you. You'll get a really good idea as to what's going on. And for these characters, I usually save my, you know, blood weapon or shadow skin or whatever for this, because these guys hit hard. If I could just heal myself up to this fight, then I don't have to use a potion or whatever, you know, and just work it like that. So I healed myself up really well there. But you also have to be worried and cautious about some of these enemies that are like peeking into the hallways, because another monster could be walking next to it and try to walk through the hallway. But because a monster, you know, the one monster that's peeking into the hallway is closer, he might literally push the monster that's in the hallway closer into the hallway where they're not supposed to be. You know, and then they might try to readjust, and like typically the ones that are roaming will continue to go through the hallway. So it might actually cause you to get an extra ad that you don't want to get, you know. So Yeah, I figured I'd, run over that and talk about that a little bit. As far as what's good to fight here, you can fight the birds, that do the chirp move, but try to fight them one at a time and fight them in a corner of the hallway without moving. Just don't move. Even if they do the chirp move on you, there's nothing you can do. It's like a radius attack. You can't stop it anyway if you weren't able to stun it. So don't run around, because there might be another bird walking through there, and he might just literally walk by you if you don't move your feet at all. Some of these roaming monsters will literally just walk by you if you don't move your feet. The Dullahans, they only hear your feet, so if you just stand in one position, they won't attack you. I think unless you're directly blocking their path. I think that might happen. So typically I'm usually on the edge of the hallway itself to try to avoid any random stuff that's just wandering through there. Later on when I get a little bit further, I think the succubuses just attack you anyway. I think the succubuses will just attack you anyway. I don't think there's anything you can do about it. But now I'm going a little bit too far into that. So pretty much what I had to do here was go as far as possible, leveling up as fast as possible for this part. And this is the reason I needed all those strengths and defenses, was for this part. I think it's still going to be tough, this next section, but I think I'm going to start to even out as far as my defense to offense comparatively, because the next set of stuff that I'll be fighting will be more magical based, and I've got more magical defense as far as certain skills and certain attacks. And like once I get Delirium, I'll have Delirium on command. I'll be able to put all the enemy's intelligence down right from the start of the battle, with a Scourge and whatever, or I could just do Dark Arts and Soul Eater the whole thing the whole way through, depending upon kind of what it is. Like if it's a magical thing, I'm going to put an anti-intelligence on them so they can't hurt me with magic too well, and that will help. And yeah, I'll have a little bit better arsenal for it. But guys, honestly, this is so freaking hard. Like I barely did this, and I'm just wondering if I can even do the next stuff. I'm just wondering, like, if I do, I'm gonna have to get just perfect RNG for this. I was watching Mr. Happy do it, and I was like, how did he get that good of RNG? How did he get that good? I mean, some of the stuff he's just almost constantly has a safety, almost constantly has a strength, a steel. His stuff is just maxed out, loaded up all the way. The only thing I could do was just save everything from the first set of floors and half the second set of floors for this particular set here of 21 to 30. And at the very end, I've got like nothing left. So I don't know exactly how I'm going to do the rest of this stuff. I have no idea. I have no idea how I'm going to do it, because I've got almost nothing left to use. I've got no strengths. I've got no steals. I've got no safeties. I've got nothing good. Alterations, I would probably recommend not doing an alteration until you are maxed out level-wise, because those mimics are going to tear you apart. They're literally going to tear you apart. And also what I found out here is there's no point in going for the silver chests, because if they just blow up in your face, it's time wasted. You may get like an extra strength point out of it. You might. But the only time in taking a silver chest is if there's nobody around, literally nobody around at all. No monsters, no one's spawning, you're kind of far away from it. You wanna risk it. You could try it. I don't know if they can turn into mimics. If they turn into mimics, well then you might be screwed, because at this level a mimic is gonna be way too strong. His level is gonna be way higher than yours will be. It'll just be too much for you to handle. But yeah, here, like, I'm just trying to do everything imaginable to try to do as much damage as possible, and it's still hard. It's still hard. I feel like I'm getting a little bit stronger as far as where I'm at right now. I feel a little bit stronger. Like I can handle this, possibly. Like I could possibly handle this without the other stuff that I have. I could possibly fight it. But the whole point of this is the faster you can kill the enemies, by the time you're getting into floor 30 to 40, the higher the level you are at that point, the easier everything else is going to be, because you might not need the strengths, you might not need the steals at that point. You'll be high enough to fight everything at the same level that the enemies are at, and be okay. Yeah, one thing I just want to say is, like, you got to have good RNG luck. If you're not having good RNG luck, you're almost better off just starting over. Like, if you got 20 minutes left and you got 5 floors to go, and you have no strengths, no defenses, and you still just started floor 25, you might just have to quit. Like, if you're gonna try this, I wouldn't recommend, like, having 20 minutes left on the clock and be like, floor 25, 20 minutes left, no strength, no defense, no sight, no, anti-trap pomander, nothing good. Then I would recommend, like, it's probably not going to work for you. It's just not going to work, because this is the limbo state of Dark Knight, which is strange and kind of stupid in a way, where it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Like, why is it like that? And this is something that I think may have helped me to a degree, where I got this rage and I'm like, okay, good, now I can just destroy most of this stuff, level up easy peasy, don't have to worry about it, bam, just slice through guys. Try to have a plan of attack before you use this Manticore, though, because the thing is, when you fight that next boss, you definitely need to be at this level. You have to have Shadow Wall. I tried this without Shadow Wall on the boss before. Doesn't work too well. I mean, it does help, to a degree, but it helps. I think it helps enough, or it's just good enough that you really kind of need it. So Manticore helped me out. If I go to the next set of floors and I get a bunch of Manticores, and I could just run through and just crush everything and level up like that, easily like that, I probably would do it. I don't think I'm gonna have to worry about like a bomb blowing me up while I'm in Manticore mode, because I usually target enemies and attack them faster than they can attack me. So even if I'm damaged to some degree, I'll probably survive. But you have to watch out with the Manticore, like where your time is, how little time you have left, this and that, and just try to hope that you don't run into like a room full of enemies, when your time is just about to run out. You got like 10 seconds left. Start to think about your options. When you have 10 seconds left on the Manticore clock, think about your options. But you can kind of see now, how the Soul Eater is helping you out with Dark Arts. You're going to watch this now. This is where Dark Arts is going to work. And like, there's still, I get confused. I still go into my power slash combo because I'm just so used to doing it all the time. Just because I'm playing with a whole group of people, where I have to use it so much. But you'll see how you really need this here. I mean, just look at how much I'm healing myself up with this, and how I'm staying alive, and my hit points are staying very high. And I can just keep doing Dark Arts, and I can keep doing the Soul Eater because I got Blood Weapon running. So I can keep doing that. Plus I have my blood price in case I need it there. So I have blood price in case I run out of the blood weapon. I can't use the blood weapon and I'm starting to lose DP. I can go in blood price and get it back that way too. So when I'm fighting a boss at this point in time, it's best to just throw a Dark Passenger on unless you have a ton of MP. Don't worry about Dark Arts and the Dark Passenger. Just throw out the Dark Passenger and just keep using your powered up Soul Eater and heal up that way. That's probably the best way to do it, because you'll see, like, look at how much damage he's putting in me, and look, I'm healing up fairly well with that. And I haven't used a defensive cooldown. It's just me healing myself up with Dark Arts with the Soul Eater. So, like, here I decided, well, this is getting kind of scary. I should probably go take a bathroom break real quick and, come back. I'd love to do this live like I did the other two, but when I'm trying to do it live, I'm thinking too much, about what's going on, and I'm trying to talk about what's going on at the same time, and it doesn't help, because I'm thinking about what I want to say, but then I'm not thinking about where I need to go, the strategies I need to do this. And so when I took the bathroom break, the game decided, hey, he went to go take a leak. Let's throw this enemy on top of him right here. let's just kill him while he's not doing anything. I think he went away from the computer for a while. Let's kill him. So yeah, so that happens, and yeah. So I was like, oh man, I'm glad they didn't spawn a bunch of enemies on me, because that would have really stunk. So I didn't power up that last one because I knew that would just kill him off anyways. I'm going to go to the next floor. I don't think they're going to throw anything at me, you know, so I'm thinking, I think I need to go to the next floor with this. I'm deciding whether I should use my lust or not, you know, to use the vulnerability on it, because I've tried this before and I was like, how do I turn this off? I completely forgot how to turn off a thing that you put on yourself. But then I was thinking, oh, I just click onto the thing itself and I press on it. Okay. Yeah, okay, that can work. But another thing I want to suggest too, never ever do this without making sure you have high quality food on you. I may have already said that, but just a reminder. So look at your food timer, look at all your other timers. If you're going to start this up, if you don't have a lust, you know, definitely, I think for a boss fight, like if you're going to go blood weapon, definitely have your steel set. You know, I put my strength on because I thought strength might help me too. But as far as his lust is concerned, all you really have to do is get close, put 5 stacks on him, because you can't get more than 5. You're going to have to kind of like move around, rotate a little bit. But once you get 5 stacks, turn off lust, because you're not going to do any more damage than what this is itself. You know, it's going to do some damage, and each damage you do to it with the vulnerability stack it has, it's going to be powerful, but it's not going to be too hard. What I've also noticed too is, like, you don't have to necessarily move them all over the place. All you really have to do is just kind of be in between this, and then once you put something down, you know, find a place to go. So you can literally do a ring around the posy with this guy. If you don't know what ring around the posy is, it's basically you're just going around in circles. You know, you can go around counterclockwise, clockwise, whatever way you feel like is best. But right after he does fear is the best time to put on a defensive cooldown. Typically I start with my weakest ones first and I go strong. But maybe for this one I should have went strong to weak. You know, and every time he's going to drop one of those puddles on you in some degree, then you need to move. You know, so I just was going around the circle, and every once in a while you get a potion ready, then pop your potion. Make sure you have your potions pop. You know, so you can see how much damage he's doing to me. I mean, this is not like what I've seen with some other people doing. Is like, oh, he doesn't hurt at all. Oh, he does hurt quite a bit, because right now with Dark Knight, even with the powered up Soul Eater, which is definitely needed to kill him, you know, you got to pretty much power up the Soul Eater every single time, you know, to try to kill him, because that's your strongest attack. I tried this with Power Slash. It wasn't working. It wasn't doing it. Power Slash, you'll die on Power Slash. You need to heal yourself up every single time, as much as possible with Soul Eater, to survive this onslaught on this guy. If you get some better RNG luck where you're a little bit higher level, this may not seem like it's so difficult, but this is still really tough. You know, because, like, okay, it's not like I can just hit Soul Eater and know, okay, I've done a really powerful attack. I have to hit another button, and then I have to hit that, and then I have to watch out where I'm moving. So there's so many extra things that I'm doing, you know, that it's so hair-pulling. This is so hair-pullingly stressful. And I know that's not exactly the right wordage, but you can see all my defensive stuff is down. I don't have anything left, really, to do much, you know, with. And I was like, oh, you know what, I should have went with the sword attack right there, because I just missed my opportunity. But you could see how low I am. You could see how stressful this is. And I don't have another, you know, cooldown. And eventually, if you go in a circle, they eventually all disappear anyways. So looking at it like this, I think I can beat this boss, but going to the next stuff, I'm not sure if I can beat the rest of the stuff. I mean, I'm going to try, you know, and we'll see how far I can go. I mean, if I can make a video to show you how far I've been able to go, because trying to go back and try to do another file where I'm going through it, I don't know if I'm going to have all the same good RNG I had. So I'm just going to have to like try some videos to see when I could get good RNG to beat the rest of it. So we'll see how the rest of this goes. But I hope you enjoyed this very long video. You know, leave me some comments, leave some likes if you want. Let me know what you think, you know. And hopefully I'll be able to beat the rest of them and put up those videos. But until then, take it easy, and I'll talk to you later.